We're back. That was our 12 o'clock afternoon mix with our DJ J Smooth mix. You can catch those mixes every is it every day? I know I do it every Thursday. Every Thursday at 12 o'clock from 12 to 12:30 for my DJ club, our very own DJ club here at Columbia. They always throwing us the hottest mixes in the game. So make sure you tune on for those. If you don't tune in for anything else on this show, tune in for those DJ 12 o'clock mixes, because when I tell you they're hot, they're super hot. And also, it's supporting our DJ club. Like, why not support? That's what we're here to support, brand, and do our thing. But I promise y'all I had an interview for y'all. This month is all about branding. It's all about getting yourself out there. It's all about making sure people know who you are, making sure that people see you from the start into the very top of when you get there. So today in the building, I have very own, the greatest, the latest, Montezuma in the building. Say what's up to the people on WCRX.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Yeah.
Hope you guys are feeling really good right now. Shout out to everybody tuning in right now, 88.1 FM.
That's right. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. Yeah, I'm
really
so
good.
grateful to be here, and I'm glad I made it.
That's good. So I met Montezuma at, of course, our Sesame events. They're one of the greatest events that Columbia offers. It's like a nice little talent show, in my say, and it's about getting yourself out there and just showing, like, Columbia students. It always starts off with a smaller crowd to get to a bigger crowd. And the first time I saw Montezuma perform, I said, yo, his energy is so dope.
Thank you.
You would think, you hear him on the radio right now, you're like, oh, this man's like super chill. He's a vibe. Like, he's definitely a vibe, but he definitely brings that energy to the stage where it's like, oh my God, like where you got this small, like little person, it's always the small little people that bring that biggest energy, that hypest energy. Right. And I was like, yo, like this dude is super dope. And I've been in connection with him since then. We talk probably all the time. And then he got into connection with me and was like, yeah, I want to do a radio interview. And I'm like, I definitely have to interview you. So most definitely. So tell me how you got started. How did you even get into this rap game?
So basically it all started, when I was younger. Like the first hip hop song that I ever heard was Lose Yourself by Eminem. And then like right into that, maybe like around third grade or fourth grade, I started getting into like the drum line and stuff like that.
Nice.
I wanted to do like a full drum set and be like a rock star and stuff like that, a full drummer. But I was at a Catholic school, and my parents were like, nah, like we'll get you into music. So I did the drum line, and then it just progressed from there. And then I took a break from music as far as like being a creator, like a student of the game for some years. I got back into it when I was like 17 years old. Started taking it seriously when I was like 19, like my first year of college. And then just been progressing ever since, really stuck with it.
That's really cool. So where did you get your name from? It's so many different rappers in the game right now, and they all got the little in front, little this, little that, or, just these random, just crazy names. But your name, it speaks definition. It speaks courage. It speaks so much power. So where exactly did you get your name from? How did that come about?
Well, I basically got that from, just like understanding like my culture and like where I'm from. Originally, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It was going to be a choice between like Swareezy, which was like my last name, or Montezuma. And then I went up to my sister and I was just like, hey, you know what? Like, I gave her my opinion on how I was feeling from both of them. And she's like, nah, I don't like the first one. It's like too cheesy and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go with the second one because the way that I came up with Montezuma is that I found out from my grandma and my grandpa that they learned from their ancestors and like their great-grandparents that, my grandma's side is like actually like of Aztec origin.
Nice.
And then my grandpa's side is of Spaniard origin. And then also, even though I was like really young, I always thought of like marketing and like branding, like the business aspect of it. So I was just like, okay, like I could definitely do a lot more with like logos and like T-shirts and like have something that brings it all together with Montezuma,
Nice. Well, I really like that name. It's a very different name from what I hear from rappers nowadays. Like, because everybody has the same name, I feel like, or everybody's going for that same like branding type name. Like, if I have little in front of my name, then I'll be known, But names like that speak something about yourself. It shows your real character. It shows that you know, that you come to really do what you do and love what you love, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I was really rocking with your name when I first heard that Sesame. I said, Montezuma. What? What?
They're like, wait, like the Aztec emperor?
Like, exactly. So, what's your flow? Like, what gave you this hip hop, R&B? Because you got like a hip hop R&B flow and flavor to you. So, what made you go into that flavor, that flow?
Basically, it was just from listening to all different types of music and like all different types of artists. Because like, for me, I consider myself a hip hop artist, but I also consider myself a student of music. You know, so I like to listen to all different types of genres, and you know, just like also using that knowledge that I have from like being a percussionist and stuff like that, like writing music and knowing like the precision of like every single note and like the timing and stuff like that allows me to kind of like take my words and like look at them as notes, you know, and like use the syllables and translate that into notes. And that's like, you know, I could sometimes when I do that R&B flow, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I can extend this syllable almost like a whole note or a half note, you know? And then I know when to like take breaths and stuff like that, because you also want the beat to breathe a little bit, you know?
That's really dope how you go into, how do I say this, the detail of when you write or when you make music, or, you know, listening, what you just said, you know, letting me find that beat flow, or, you know, let me take a breath right here so this beat can go, you know, like most rappers don't go into details like that. It's all about, you know, getting those lyrics in there. But I like how you pay attention to not only the lyrics, but also the music behind the lyrics, you know, like you go more in depth into explaining it. And, you know, some people just, they don't think about, you know, you have to put a message behind a beat or a song, you know. And when I listen to your music, that's what I hear. You think it's more about, you know, what are you saying that's comparing to this beat? You know, you go with the flow and you go with the mode, the tone of, you know, the beats that you choose and the songs that you choose. So when you're writing music, you write all your own music, correct?
Yeah.
That's
so as far as the lyrics, yes, but as far as like the music and stuff like that, I usually purchase the instrumental either online or like from a producer. And you know, I always make sure that we have all the licensing agreements and stuff like that. Just to protect myself in the future, because
understandable,
you know, there's certain instances where there's like a really good beat and there's a producer that's really like eager to work with me, but then they don't have any like paperwork or any licensing, and that can cause a lot of issues in the future. So
most definitely,
it's just like I want to protect both sides and also make sure that they get their credit, they get their publishing and their royalties and stuff like that, you know.
That's real love. That is real love. So when you're writing your music, what do you think about? Or matter of fact, when you're writing your music, what is your head zone? What is that space? Because, you know, most people, when you're an artist or you're some type of creator, you go into a mode and you go into this work zone. What is your work zone? What is your workflow to keep you in that zone when you're writing music? Or when you know, listening to that beat and like, oh my God, I just got the most craziest idea that I got to come to life. How do you go about that?
Okay. Well, actually, there's a couple of different ways. Sometimes like I'll look for a beat based off of how I'm feeling or what I'm going through in life, and you know, I'll try and find something that'll match like the idea or the concept of like the song or the record that I want to make. And then sometimes like I'm just in a creative open space where you know, I pretty much just go online and I look for beats that kind of like call to me. So like sometimes it's like a variation of like 50-50. Me personally though, when I'm writing my own music, I like to be, you know, in my basement, in my little recording studio, all by myself. Like, I just like being isolated and secluded. And, yeah, I don't know. That's just, like, the way that I work best. Like, there has been one instance where I did write a song with this one guy named Roman Hunt. Shout out to Roman Hunt being my only future. Yeah, he's an amazing singer. And I met him over at the community college that I was going to. And that was the one and only time where I worked with another artist and I had them with me, like, while I was writing music. And, you know, we were bouncing off ideas, bouncing off, like, melodies and, like, different rhythms. And yeah, but for the most part, I like to just, you know, work by myself and work on my own, because, like, I just have so many thoughts and so many creative ideas just, like, flow to me that, like, it's just nice to have, like, you know, just my own voice and my own thoughts.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I had to go into that space even before I even get on the radio, or or like I'm in a production booth and I have to edit something or make PSAs or anything like that. You got to find that moment where it's just like, okay, clear head,
Right.
all right, and we can go now. All right, you got to make sure, because I feel like your creations come out better when you're free, or when you just wake up fresh off. And I don't know, for some reason I have to go to sleep in order to wake up and
okay, yeah.
create something, because I just feel like when you sleep, all of that just comes, everything from yesterday or from the day before just clears your head, and you wake up fresh, and the only thing you think about is working and getting to that zone. So like I totally agree with you when you go into your little studio in the basement, like,
Yeah.
here we go.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, most definitely.
And
so
shout out to my parents too,
shout
because
out to
like
the parents.
yeah, because like when I tell them like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna work on a record or something like that. Like I'm very fortunate enough to where they give me that space, and like if they're upstairs listening to some music or cooking or doing whatever that they're doing, they like try and give me like my peace and quiet, so that way I can focus and like concentrate on my
That is
greatness.
really dope. Are they your biggest supporters?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a lot of like really great supporters.
That's really good.
And yeah, my mom's like definitely like my number one fan for
Shout
sure.
out to mom.
Yeah, shout out to mom. Love you, ma.
So you said that you started doing music,
Mm-hmm.
and then you stopped, and then when you entered college, then you started taking it serious.
Yeah.
When was that moment that you were like, okay, I have to go into this, and I think this is for me?
Basically, like my friends, they basically like, in all seriousness, they all got together and just had like an intervention with me. They're like, bro, you know what? Like, you've just been progressing so much since your junior year of high school. And like something just tells me that like this is meant to be, and like this is for you. Like, you need to start taking it seriously, because like, they started looking at everyone around us and like people that weren't like in our group of friends, and they're like, man, you're like the only one that's like got like a really like hardcore talent, and you're actually like using it. Because we all understand that we all have our own individual talents, but I was like using a different type of like creative expression and like really consistently like going after it, so that's basically when I was just like, all right, like damn, like my friends sat me down and they're like, yo, you got to start taking this seriously, because we believe in you.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start taking it seriously.
Serious, right?
Yeah.
I feel like when you have friends like that, that really pushes you out to even do better. Because hearing it from your parents is like, you always know your parents are going to be your number one support system. But when you have your friends looking at you and telling you things like that, you're just like, wow, like I really do have to do this, and it really helps when you have that big support system,
Right.
when you say you have a really major good support system that's always there for you, always has your back. And I feel like to be a creator and to be an artist, that's something that you really need, because a lot of times you can't do it by yourself. A lot of times you have those moments when you feel like, oh, I'm going to be down, like I can't do this. But when you got your support system behind you, you're like, yes, like, okay, I feel good.
I can do it. Yeah.
Have you ever had one of those moments where you just like felt like, oh my God, like I know I can't do this, and then like they just came and lifted you right back up?
Yeah, there's actually been a couple of instances. I know one of my close friends, Ed, shout out to Ed.
Go Ed.
I remember there was a point in time where we just made a mutual agreement and like a promise to each other that we were gonna stick to our dreams and do whatever we can to fulfill it, no matter what.
Nice.
And there was times where like he would hit me up at least like once a week, like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Like, are you working on your music, or what have you accomplished so far, and so forth. And now we've gotten to the point where we like hardly ever see each other. Like the only time I see him is like at work. Other than that, like I'm so caught up with so many different opportunities.
Exactly.
Which is great.
This is super good. I feel like being busy is being the best, honestly. So keep those opportunities coming. You just got a lot coming your way, and that's just like, yes, like the time is here and the time is now. So from speaking to you in the past, you're really, how do I say this? You're all about the world, and you're all about, like things that's going on. You're very up to date. You're very up to hip about it. You have opinions about it.
Yeah.
Do you try to put that in your music, or is that a thing that you just like to speak about, just talk about it? How do you involve that in your music? How do you feel about the word, and how, you speak out and things like that?
Yeah, I do pretty much a little bit of everything. I try to be involved in the community and like attend events. Usually with that type of stuff, like I want it to be all about the event and not necessarily like about me and like
Understandable.
expanding myself, at least as far as like in the initial like interaction, because I want it to grow like organically and genuinely. But then other times, like, you know, whenever I have an interaction with someone, and if like that conversation is appropriate or it makes sense to talk about it, then, you know, I'll talk about it because I want people to grow from like having an interaction with me. I want them to take something from me and like grow as a person, you know?
Understandable.
And then lastly, I would say the way that I fit it into my music is I just have like, if you pay really close attention, like some of the songs that I have, they'll be really hype, but they'll have like hidden gems or like hidden messages in there, you know? And if you really pay attention, you're like, man, this beat is going off, but this guy's actually talking about something. Like he's got something in store. And like, even when I'm talking about, you know, partying and like going wild, I always have at least a little bit of truth. I always make a conscious choice to have a dedicated section to like the record to have some truth in it, you know?
That's really nice. That's really nice. I feel like since the trend now is about just everybody's songs like, yeah, just talk about wild stuff and whatever. We always overlook those artists that have those hidden gems in their music. Like you said, you always try to put that in your music, that hidden gem about something that's going on that we should pay attention to. And I don't understand like why that goes over our head, why we don't pay attention to things like that. Like artists like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, like you know, so underrated, but speaking about so many things that are going on in this world.
I know.
And I just feel like they're like, you guys, those hidden gems, they're gonna get out there, and when they do, everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like why didn't I tune in back then? It's like, you should have been woke up, you know. And I like that about your songs. It's like you make people wake up. It's like you got that hype side, you know. It's like that, yep, I'm here to turn up, but hey, listen to what I got to say, you know, and I want you to take this and run with it. You know, music like that is always the best. It's always that, that made me feel good, that made me wake up, you know, that made me really understand what's going on. And I really think you should stay down that path, because that's a really, really super dope path for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, I'm sorry. Go
ahead.
No, because basically, like what I like to do is like I understand that there's a time and place for everything. So there's a time and place for like when like an audience wants to listen to like something just to like vibe out to and like grow from, and there's stuff where like people just want to party and get wild and have fun. And I want to make music that fits, you know, any occasion, but at the same time, like, it's got to have a little bit of truth.
And I feel that. I totally feel that. Shout out to, do y'all hear this, man? Shout out, okay? Yeah. So you are from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Super dope. Woo, shout out to the south side. Shout out to the
South
south side.
Shout out to all my family that's still living down there.
Yep, south side. Yep, shout out to my fam bam too. That's everybody from the south side. Do you feel like being from the south side of Chicago gave you part of your flow, or, you know, helped you come up with this concept of you being the rapper that you are today? Or the hip hop artist, I would say, that you are today.
Let's see. Basically, the main thing that I gained from the south side was because, you know, rap music wasn't really, or like hip hop music wasn't really allowed in my household. So I missed out on, you know, the whole like 90s and like a little bit of like the early 2000s and stuff like that. So basically all I had was just like my own flow and my own creative thoughts, you know. But the main thing that I gained from Chicago was just like all my experiences and all like the stories that I have from there, you know, like you know, people that know me, they're like, oh yeah, like it's just like some kid from the suburbs, which I am, like from the suburbs and from south side. But, you know, growing up, it was just rough. Like we couldn't even go down to the end of the block when I was a kid, because that's where like all the gang members would like meet up and stuff like that. My block was for a long time the only block that didn't have like any gang bangers. And like, yeah, but like every single surrounding like block, every single surrounding neighborhood, like it was pretty bad.
Wow. For you to come from such a background like that to where you are now, you know, I would never thought that. I would have thought that you've always been like the one to listen to, like, go into that 90s and 2000s hip hop and everything, but hearing that really shows dedication, that you was really dedicated, because you had to go back and go back in that time, you know, even at an older age, and get that info and get those vibes from those artists from the 90s and from the early 2000s. So that just shows dedication, that you work upon your history, you know, that you're very hip to, okay, I know in order to create something like this, I got to go back into my roots with it, you know. And I think that's super dope, and a lot of artists should really go into that, because that gives them that flow and that gives them that feeling like, okay, I know if the 90s and the 2000s like this, I could try to, you know, input that into my music a little bit, and it's going to create a good 90s, 2000s, but modern day vibe.
Exactly.
And you do that in your music, and it's just like, you could tell that you're really into what you do, and that you're really dedicating what you do. You know, it's not a game. You got to tell them, like, it's not no game. Like, I take this serious, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a fun fact is that when I was 19, that was the first time I ever heard the Wu-Tang album. 36 Into the Chambers, right? 36?
Yeah, Into the Chambers,
yeah. And I actually have a Wu-Tang shirt on right now.
Wu-Tang!
I had to represent.
Nice!
Boom. And I didn't listen to the Illmatic album till I was like 21. I purchased it on Google Play Store, and I just sat down, you know, over in the laundry room on the bed that we had over there, and I just listened to the whole album from top to bottom. And I was just like, wow, this is incredible. Like, he's speaking so much truth, and like, there's so many stories in here. And that's basically where, you know, I progressed as an artist. And I was like, man, like, no wonder why people love this album so much, because there's so much truth, so much vulnerability, you know?
Most definitely.
And that definitely helped me grow.
That's super cool. So how old are you?
Take a guess.
I'm really bad at guessing games.
I got a baby face.
You do. I want to say I'm going to shoot for 23.
23?
Because you said when you were 21.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing I'm shooting for 23. I'm close, though?
Yeah, very close. I'm actually 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, if you tune into our Instagram and our picture that we're going to upload later, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. He looks like he's like 19, 20. Like in my age. It's crazy, but that's super. I feel like the young jeans is the best jeans. We keep these baby faces. When we turn 50, we're going to look so bomb. We're going to be like.
Yeah, we're going to look like we're 30.
Exactly. That's why people always tell me, like, appreciate the fact that you look like you 12. And I'm like, no, it's irritating, because I have to walk down the street. They're going to be like, you're 12? I'm like, no, I'm 20. Leave me alone. But we have to appreciate that, though, because when we turn 50, we're going to be bomb, for real.
Yeah, we really are.
Most definitely. So who are some future artists that you would love to work with, you know, collab with?
Oh, I mean, of course, the GOAT, Eminem himself.
Most definitely.
You know, he's the one that just studying his music, breaking down every single lyric, writing it, and like converting it into notes. That like really helped me a lot. I would definitely like to work with Russ.
Nice.
He really helped me out a lot. Like, I would listen to his radio interviews, and he would talk about, you know, the different books that he read, and I started reading the same books, and it's just crazy how my life has been transforming like so quickly. I would like to work with let's see, who else? Logic, Russ, Eminem, J. Cole for sure.
Most definitely.
Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Big Sean.
Most
I would love to work with those type of artists.
That would be a super dope collab. So we need to add all of them on all our social medias on WCRX and at Montezuma and tell them we got an artist that needs to be up and coming, and you need to work with him because he got something hot for y'all. Y'all need to go and make that happen right now as we speak.
Yeah, thank you.
So we live in Chicago where it's so hard. The music scene is so big, and you know, so many people are so afraid to just get themselves out there,
right,
and to just, because it's so deep here, you know, and they're like, these up and coming rappers and artists and singers from Chicago, like, I'll never make it. And you're so confident about it that your platform is already building at such a high, you know, step. What is some advice that you can give to somebody that's probably sitting down right now, listening to this interview and saying to yourself, like, man, I wish I could do that?
Okay. Since this is my first radio interview, I'm gonna just give it 100% and say how I'm really feeling.
Keep it 100, keep it a buck all the time.
I would say there's two forms. There's the spirit form and then the world of form, right? Like reality. I would say you have to take a practical and like tactical approach. to just like, seeing who you are, where you want to be, and like how you're gonna get there, and like make a plan out of that. And then for me, I'm a very spiritual person. I used to be like super religious. I actually wanted to be the Pope. when I was growing up. I wanted to be the holiest person that could have like ever lived on planet Earth. But anyways, I basically just like read this book that Russ was talking about, and it was called The 7 Spiritual Laws to Success. And basically, you take whatever thought or idea that you have, you take it from the unmanifest into the manifest, from the realm of the spirit into the world of form. And that's how you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. Because the heart, people think that it's soft and mushy, but actually is afraid of no challenge.
Wow.
It knows that it's not above or below anyone, but it remains humble.
Nice.
And that's how I've been able to accomplish whatever it is that I want to do, because I just tap into my higher self and I just bring it to life.
I'm going to take that and run with that as well, because that, I never looked at it like that, like your heart can't fear anything unless we kind of like, tell it to fear something. But even if we do, we can still overcome it, Everything that's going on in this world, we think our hearts are so weak, and we so vulnerable in things. But honestly, I feel like our heart is the strongest, Our heart is definitely it's a weakness, but it's also one of the strongest parts in our body, and it keeps us going, That's why I think with my heart, like not my mind, because my mind sends me off sometimes. But thinking,
same.
My conscience really sends me off sometimes. But
Same.
when you think with your heart, you feel it, and it's a different feeling from thinking from your mind. You feel like that's where you're supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to be thinking right now. So I totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
So we're definitely premiering 2 of your songs today.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
So let's go into the first song, Cheaters.
Yes.
What is Cheaters all about?
So Cheaters is basically just talking about just my experiences, because I've noticed that a lot of artists, they talk about, I'm here with all these different type of women and being a player and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay, well, unfortunately, I can't pass judgment on any people, because I myself has also had like, like multiple women in my lifetime, and especially like in the same time frame. But the way that I look at it is just that there was a point in my life where I was just being social and just communicating with different people, and I was talking to like maybe seven different girls, right, in like a whole week or 2 weeks. And then I thought that would bring me happiness, but it didn't. Because none of those women like really cared about me or loved me. And I was like, okay, you know what, I could turn this into a positive message. I could be like, hey, you know what, like, don't worship that type of stuff, because I've gone through it firsthand experience, and I promise you it's not that fulfilling.
No, it's not. It's really not. Self-love is the best love, in all honesty. Self-love is the best love. 100%. That's why my friends come to me like, I need a boyfriend. I can't do this. I'm like, love yourself, baby. Self-love is the best love. You're not going to love and find appreciation from nobody else unless you give it to yourself first.
Right. Like, how's someone going to love you if you don't love yourself?
Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't even work that way.
You got to know your worth.
You got to know your worth. And then we have Going In. So what is Going In all about?
Ooh, Going In. I got that beat
which is my favorite track, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. So that, real quick, I actually found that beat online at beatstars.com by this producer called Chase the Money.
Nice.
And I found him back in like 2014 before he like started popping off. And, I just really like the beat. And that song is basically just like, I was like, you know what? I haven't made a turn-up song or like a party song in a while. Like, I've just been making all these like serious, like positive, strong message songs. So I was just like, okay, you know what? Like, that song is in part a manifestation of like, okay, the first part is like, shout out to all the people in the crowd. Like, let's get turned up. The second verse is a manifestation of like, me speaking into existence that one day I want to be doing a tour and I want to be doing college shows. And so I wanted that second verse to appeal to college students and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then the third verse is basically just like challenging like, the government and stuff like that, and just making people like more aware and think about things that they haven't thought about. And I finish it off with just like, hey, you know what? Let's all come together and let's fulfill our dreams.
Nice. Well, WCRX wants to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy
I was so happy to interview you. That was one of the best interviews I've done.
Oh, wow, thank you.
So much. Before we go and before we premiere Cheaters and Going In here on WCRX, I know you want to give some shout outs to some people out there that you feel like you got to love on real quick. Go ahead and give those shout outs and bring in Cheaters for us.
Okay, cool. I would like to give a shout out to my mom and my dad. Thank you so much for supporting my hopes and dreams and never letting me back down from them. I want to shout out to all my Windy City family. What's up, Team Words? What's up, baby? I know they're listening right now. I know they're playing it over the radio. Let's see. I want to give a shout out to just basically anyone. I'm missing so many people, but just anyone that supported me.
Yes.
And you know who you are. I want to give a shout out to my fans because I wouldn't be able to do this alone. So without you, you know, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you for always playing my records and growing from it.
Nice. Yeah. And let's bring it in with Cheaters. What you got to say? Say.
Let's see. For Cheaters, this was mixed by my engineer, Brandon. Shout out to Brandon. He introduced me to the photographer that's shooting all this right now. Shout out to V.
Shout out V. Shout out our photographer that's in the building right now. Woo-hoo.
Yes, much love. Thank you for coming in. And I also, this record, it got mastered. So it got mixed by my engineer, Brandon, that I met at Columbia. And it got mastered by an alumni, by Michael Kolar over at Soundscape Studios. Yeah, he graduated from Columbia, and he did a phenomenal job. So let's get it.
Here's Cheaters from by the greatest and the latest Montezuma. Thank you so much for coming here on WCRX. Don't you touch that? Don't touch that dial. Cheaters and Going In is coming up next.
Let me get up in this, I'ma say some real shit. Gotta let the truth out. Can't hold on to anguish. Universal truth. Can you